Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The story of Apocalypto unfolds like an immense and haunting tapestry woven out of human endurance, collapsing civilizations, spiritual terror, emotional bonds, and the primal instinct to survive when every force of the world seems determined to crush the last breath out of a single man. From the very first moment, the film immerses the audience into a world that feels ancient, unfamiliar, yet deeply human, a world where the jungles are so dense they swallow sound, where tribes live in harmony yet are surrounded by the shadow of empires dying and devouring each other, where every sunrise could bring either hope or annihilation. Jaguar Paw's world is introduced with a sense of calm and simplicity, the laughter of his tribe, the subtle teasing between hunters, the protective concerns of the elders, and the deep sense of belonging that ties families together form the emotional foundation upon which the entire narrative later twists with violence and desperation. The early scenes show not only the lifestyle of these forest dwellers but also the fragility of their existence, hinting that civilizations, no matter how mighty or humble, are always only a few steps away from destruction. As the film gradually shifts its tone, the quiet harmony of the forest is shattered by the violent arrival of raiders from a decaying Maya city. These invaders, armored, hardened, and merciless, represent a society rotting from within, suffering from famine, disease, superstition, and the desperation to appease their gods through human sacrifice. Jaguar Paw and his tribe are ambushed brutally at dawn, homes are burned, elders killed, children left orphaned, and the survivors forced into chains to be marched toward a future drenched in blood. In the midst of panic, Jaguar Paw's only thought is of his pregnant wife and young son, whom he lowers into a deep pit to hide, promising he will return for them. This moment sets the emotional anchor for the rest of the journey, a man torn away from his family, forced into captivity, and yet clinging to hope with the fierce instinct of a man who refuses to die until he has protected those who depend on him. The long march toward the Maya city becomes a symbolic journey through the dark heart of a collapsing empire. Along the way, Jaguar Paw witnesses how other small tribes have been destroyed, how famine has turned once fertile lands into lifeless dust, and how the human spirit can be broken not only by violence but by the overwhelming sense of being powerless in the face of a much greater force. The camera lingers on the suffering, the exhausted faces, the frightened children, and the brutal guards who have long been numb to the horrors they inflict. These guards themselves are products of a world that is slowly dying, men who once may have lived peaceful lives but are now cogs in a machine powered by fear, superstition, and ritualistic violence. When the prisoners arrive at the great Maya city, the audience is struck by an overwhelming contrast, towering stone pyramids standing above streets filled with chaos, vibrant colors masking poverty, rituals masking desperation, and a thriving marketplace built upon exploitation. Here, Jaguar Paw and the other captives learn the true purpose of their capture. They are to be offered as sacrifices to appease the gods, in hopes of stopping the plague and suffering that has spread across the land. The sacrificial ritual is portrayed with breathtaking detail, the hypnotic drumming, the rhythmic chanting of priests, the crowd screaming for divine approval, and the sun blazing overhead as victims are led to their deaths. The horror of these scenes is amplified by the fact that the sacrifices are not portrayed as acts of cruelty alone but as the tragic consequences of a society that believes it has no other way to save itself. Jaguar Paw's near-death experience at the top of the pyramid marks one of the film's most intense turning points. Just as it seems he will be killed, a sudden solar eclipse interrupts the ritual, a phenomenon interpreted by the priests as a sign the gods are satisfied. The remaining captives are spared from sacrifice but are not granted freedom. Instead, they are taken outside the city to be used as target practice in a sadistic game where they are forced to run while archers take shots at them. Jaguar Paw, wounded yet determined, manages to escape into the jungle, and his survival instinct ignites a chase sequence that forms the core of the film's second half. The jungle transforms from a home into a battleground, filled with traps, dangers, and opportunities for a skilled hunter like Jaguar Paw. The raiders soon realize that capturing him will not be easy, yet they pursue him relentlessly, driven either by pride, cruelty, or the simple desire not to return empty-handed. Every step Jaguar Paw takes is fueled by the memory of his wife and son trapped in the pit, running out of time as rain fills the enclosure. The jungle becomes both ally and adversary. It provides cover and weapons but also brings venomous creatures, treacherous terrain, and unpredictable weather. Jaguar Paw uses his knowledge of the land to turn the tables on his pursuers, setting traps, weaponizing the environment, and relying on pure primal instinct. As the chase intensifies, each death of a pursuer becomes symbolic, not just the fall of individual men but the collapse of a brutal system that sought to dominate others through fear and force. Jaguar Paw's transformation from a peaceful hunter into a relentless warrior is portrayed not as a glorification of violence but as the awakening of a responsibility that has always existed within him, the duty to protect his family and reclaim his place in the world. Simultaneously, the film cuts back to Jaguar Paw's wife and child trapped in the pit. Rainwater rises steadily, threatening to drown them. The tension of these parallel struggles adds emotional weight to Jaguar Paw's desperate sprint through the jungle. His wife, in her own display of courage, fights to keep her child above the rising water, clinging to hope despite being abandoned in darkness. These scenes reinforce the central theme of family resilience and the unbreakable human bond that transcends danger and despair. The climax occurs when Jaguar Paw reaches his home territory, battered, bloodied, but unbroken. The final surviving pursuers chase him toward the ocean where an even greater symbol of change awaits, European explorers arriving by ship. Their presence signifies the end of one era and the beginning of another, a moment that represents the irreversible transformation of the continent. The raiders pause, stunned by the sight, their entire worldview shaken. Jaguar Paw uses this distraction to escape once more into the forest, where he finally returns to rescue his wife and newborn child, who has been born during their terrifying confinement. The ending is quiet yet powerful. Jaguar Paw, reunited with his family, stands at the edge of monumental historical change. Despite the disastrous collapse of the Maya civilization and the looming arrival of foreign forces, he chooses not to approach the newcomers but to flee deeper into the jungle, determined to forge a new beginning. His story becomes a symbolic cycle of survival, rebirth, and the eternal human instinct to protect what matters most, even in the face of overwhelming change. The film's production process itself is a monumental achievement. Shot deep in the jungles of Mexico, it relied heavily on practical effects, real sets, handmade costumes, and intense physical performances by largely indigenous actors. Mel Gibson's approach to authenticity extended to the use of the Yucatec Maya language, requiring linguistic experts and cultural advisors to ensure the dialogue reflected historical accuracy. The makeup, body paint, tattoos, jewelry, and cultural artifacts seen throughout the film were created by teams of researchers who studied archaeological findings, codices, and surviving traditions. Every frame feels handcrafted, infused with a rawness that modern CGI-heavy films rarely achieve. The cinematography heightens the sense of immersion, using handheld movement during chase sequences, sudden drops into silence to reflect tension, and sweeping wide shots to contrast the vastness of nature with the smallness of human struggle. The score, blending tribal instruments with atmospheric soundscapes, pulses rhythmically through the narrative, reflecting both the heartbeat of the jungle and the emotional beats of survival. When the film released in 2006, it was met with a mixture of awe and controversy. Critics praised its technical brilliance, immersive world-building, and relentless pacing, calling it one of the boldest historical adventure films ever made. Some scholars debated its representation of Maya culture, noting that it blends accurate elements with dramatic exaggerations for cinematic effect. However, among audiences, the film became a modern classic, admired for its intensity, authenticity, and the unforgettable performance of Rudy Youngblood as Jaguar Paw. The trailer, released months before the film's debut, emphasized the raw action, the unique use of indigenous language, and the brutal realism of the era. Its marketing highlighted the film not as a historical documentary but as a survival epic powered by emotional depth and precise craftsmanship. Over time, Apocalypto has gained recognition as one of the most powerful portrayals of ancient civilizations, not because it attempts to document history exactly but because it captures the universal experience of facing societal collapse, personal loss, and the instinctual human need to fight for one's family. The film suggests that civilizations may rise and fall, empires may crumble, but the core of humanity, love, fear, hope, courage, survival, remains unchanged across the ages. The film's legacy continues to grow because it refuses to simplify human nature. Its characters are neither fully good nor fully evil, they are shaped by the world collapsing around them. The raiders are cruel, yet they too are victims of a dying civilization. The priests believe in their rituals, yet they cannot save their city from sickness and famine. Jaguar Paw becomes a warrior, yet he remains fundamentally a man fighting only to protect his family. This moral complexity gives the narrative weight beyond mere action or historical reenactment. The emotional power of Apocalypto lies in the intimate moments, a father whispering hope to his terrified wife, a child clinging to life in darkness, the silent prayers spoken before death, the quiet determination in Jaguar Paw's eyes as he runs through the jungle exhausted beyond measure but unwilling to stop. These moments create a connection that transcends time, language, and culture. As the film ends, the jungle remains vast and indifferent, a reminder that civilizations rise and fall but nature endures. Jaguar Paw's final decision to retreat deeper into the forest symbolizes a return to origins, a hope for new beginnings, and the continuation of the human story long after empires fade. Jaguar Paw's world is introduced with gentle, earthy simplicity, where the forest breathes alongside the people and the laughter of hunters fills the morning air with warmth. His tribe moves through life with rituals, humor, and the secure feeling of belonging to a land that has raised them for generations. Among the trees and fire-lit evenings, every heartbeat reflects harmony with nature, giving the sense that nothing could disturb this balance. Yet beneath this quiet surface, subtle hints of fear whisper through stories of distant destruction, hinting that great forces are moving toward them. This peaceful realm becomes the emotional foundation from which the storm of the film later erupts. The sudden attack at dawn shatters the fragile serenity, turning soft forest smoke into the choking haze of burning huts and frightened screams. Raiders from a deteriorating Maya city descend with brutal efficiency, capturing survivors and killing without hesitation as they drag entire families from the life they've always known. Jaguar Paw hides his pregnant wife and child deep in a pit, whispering promises he desperately hopes he can keep, even as the enemy storms through the village. The heartbreak of separation fuels his spirit, planting the fierce determination that defines his journey. What was once a home becomes a wasteland of ashes, pushing him into a destiny he never chose but cannot escape. The long march to the Maya city becomes a torment of exhaustion, despair, and the crushing realization that they are merely pieces in a greater machinery of suffering. Along the winding path, Jaguar Paw sees other destroyed communities, evidence that the raiders have been gathering victims endlessly to satisfy the demands of a dying empire. Hunger, sickness, and hopelessness hang in the air like a suffocating cloud, making every step feel like a descent into the depths of human darkness. The guards, hardened by their own fears and indoctrination, show no mercy and no hesitation as they push the captives forward. Each mile reveals the tragic contrast between small forest tribes living in balance and an expanding civilization collapsing under its own weight. The arrival at the Maya city overwhelms the senses with chaotic noise, oppressive heat, and the disturbing grandeur of stone temples towering above suffering crowds. Poverty and disease infect the streets as people beg for cures, offerings, and hope that never comes, while wealthier classes prepare for ritual sacrifice with painted faces and elaborate costumes. Jaguar Paw and the captives are led toward the pyramid, realizing with mounting terror that they are meant to die to appease gods who cannot stop famine and plague. The sacrificial ceremony blazes with drums, chants, and the frenzied cries of citizens convinced that blood is the only answer to their civilization's decline. With each beating heart torn from a victim, the city feels less like a place of power and more like a desperate society clawing for survival. Just when Jaguar Paw is moments away from death, a solar eclipse halts the ritual in a chilling display of cosmic coincidence and human desperation. The priests declare the gods satisfied, giving the crowd a rush of ecstatic relief while the remaining prisoners are dragged away for another cruel purpose. Instead of freedom, they are sent outside the city to become targets in a sadistic game, where they must run while elite warriors try to shoot them down. Jaguar Paw uses instinct and timing to escape, but not without suffering deep wounds that test his endurance to the breaking point. His escape triggers a relentless pursuit through the jungle, turning hunter and hunted into reflections of survival at its most primal. Each moment of flight sharpens his focus on the promise he made to his family. The jungle becomes both battlefield and sanctuary, every shadow a threat and every tree a potential ally as Jaguar Paw uses his knowledge of the land to outwit his pursuers. He draws upon his skills as a hunter, turning natural traps, poisonous creatures, and the unforgiving terrain into weapons against those chasing him. The warriors, driven by pride, rage, and their own refusal to fail, become increasingly desperate as they fall one by one to the environment they do not fully understand. Jaguar Paw's exhaustion grows heavier with each passing moment, yet the memory of his family trapped in the rising water of the pit keeps him moving beyond his limits. In this deadly dance between man and nature, every footstep feels like it could be his last. Meanwhile, Jaguar Paw's wife and child struggle against the rising rainwater that threatens to drown them as they cling to life in the darkness. She uses every ounce of strength, creativity, and maternal instinct to protect her little boy, holding him above the water even as she herself becomes submerged. The claustrophobic fear of drowning intensifies with each rainfall, echoing the hopelessness of being trapped while the world outside spirals into violence. Her perseverance becomes a parallel testament to the film's deeper theme of survival fueled by love. Their fight for life gives urgency to every mile Jaguar Paw runs through the jungle. The chase reaches its peak when Jaguar Paw emerges at the coastline, gasping for breath as the last surviving raiders close in behind him. The sudden appearance of European explorers' ships on the horizon creates a moment of eerie silence as both hunter and hunted stare at the arrival of a new chapter in history. The raiders hesitate, their worldview shaken by the sight of unfamiliar men in towering ships, symbols of change far beyond their understanding. Jaguar Paw uses this moment to escape again, disappearing into the jungle before the incoming forces can reshape his fate. The collision of worlds hints at the end of one civilization and the beginning of another. Jaguar Paw finally reaches his home site, battered but alive, driven by love and desperation as he races toward the pit where his family fights to survive. His reunion with them becomes one of the film's most emotional moments, especially as he pulls them from the rising water while the newborn baby's cry echoes through the forest. The relief on his face reflects a man who has crossed through hell and returned with the only treasure that matters. The family stands together at the edge of a new world as the distant sight of the Europeans reminds them that their old life is gone forever. Instead of seeking contact, Jaguar Paw chooses to lead his family deeper into the forest, seeking safety, renewal, and a new beginning far from the ruins of collapsing civilizations. The forest, once familiar and safe, now seems vast and unknowable, stretching endlessly in every direction as Jaguar Paw leads his family deeper into its shadows. Every rustle of leaves, every distant bird call, reminds them that danger still lurks, yet also that life persists even in the most unforgiving places. The child clings to his father's back, wide-eyed but resilient, while the mother moves with quiet strength beside them, showing that survival is a shared effort. Each step is cautious but determined, as if the forest itself tests their worthiness to continue living. In this wilderness, the past horrors remain, yet the instinct to persevere transforms fear into focus and courage. Jaguar Paw reflects inwardly on the relentless brutality he has endured, the endless pursuit, and the merciless collapse of civilizations that left countless lives in ruins. He understands now that survival is not simply about strength or skill, but about adaptability, timing, and an unbreakable will to protect those you love. Memories of laughter from his tribe, the warmth of shared meals, and the quiet teachings of elders are now more precious than ever, guiding him with lessons of patience and awareness. Each moment of rest is fleeting, each pause laden with tension, yet he finds in these brief respites the clarity needed to continue. His mind becomes as much a weapon as his body, shaping strategies to avoid death while moving toward hope. The jungle itself seems alive, responding to Jaguar Paw's presence in subtle ways, offering cover through dense foliage, paths through shallow streams, and obstacles for the pursuing raiders. He manipulates the terrain with instinctive precision, using fallen branches, hidden pits, and vines as tools to turn the environment into an ally. Every movement is deliberate, every breath calculated, as he navigates natural hazards that could just as easily destroy him as his enemies. The pursuit becomes a deadly chess game, each participant relying on instinct, skill, and desperation to gain advantage. Nature, indifferent yet participatory, heightens the tension and underscores the film's themes of survival and the human connection to the environment. At night, when the forest grows quiet and shadows deepen, Jaguar Paw and his family find brief solace around small fires, the flickering flames offering warmth and a fragile sense of security. These moments are intimate, allowing the audience to see vulnerability and humanity beyond the chase and violence. His wife tends to the child, whispering comfort and reassurance, while Jaguar Paw maintains vigilant watch, ears tuned to every rustle and crack. The night becomes a crucible of patience, endurance, and observation, teaching that survival is not only physical but psychological. The darkness amplifies both danger and the emotional weight of their struggle, showing the constant tension between life and death. As they move forward, Jaguar Paw notices signs of the broader collapse of the Maya civilization, abandoned villages, decaying temples, and fields left to reclaim themselves. These glimpses of decay reinforce the futility of empire built on fear and ritual, contrasting sharply with the natural resilience of the jungle. He senses the patterns of human behavior repeated across time: greed, cruelty, desperation, and the cyclical nature of civilizations rising and falling. His focus remains on his family, yet the broader reality of history presses upon him, a silent reminder that his struggle is both personal and universal. This dual awareness heightens the narrative's depth, showing survival as both intimate and emblematic of larger human experience. The pursuit intensifies as raiders who survived the initial chase regroup, driven by anger and the need to maintain honor in the face of failure. They press harder, but Jaguar Paw's intimate knowledge of the forest allows him to evade and strike back, turning the hunters into the hunted. His tactical use of terrain, timing, and traps demonstrates the evolution of a man pushed to his limits by circumstance and necessity. The film captures the physical and psychological toll of this relentless conflict, showing wounds, exhaustion, and the raw determination that sustains him. Every encounter with the raiders is both action and metaphor, emphasizing themes of resilience, intelligence, and the human will to survive. Jaguar Paw's thoughts often drift to his family's pit, recalling the rising waters and the growing fear his wife and child faced in isolation. He feels the weight of time and the urgency of his mission as each day passes, understanding that hesitation could be fatal. This memory becomes a source of motivation, a reminder that his survival is meaningful only if he can reunite and protect his loved ones. The narrative balances high-octane action with these quiet emotional undercurrents, ensuring the audience experiences the depth of human fear, love, and hope intertwined. These reflections elevate the story from a chase to a meditation on the primal bonds that drive human behavior. The jungle eventually opens to rivers and cliffs, presenting both obstacles and opportunities for Jaguar Paw's strategy. He improvises with natural materials, fashioning weapons and diversions to mislead and eliminate pursuing enemies. Every decision is a test of foresight, resourcefulness, and the ability to predict the movements of others under pressure. The tension is palpable as raiders fall into cleverly set traps, their overconfidence and brutality leading to their downfall. The narrative continues to blend suspense, survival skill, and moral resonance, illustrating that intellect and instinct can outweigh raw aggression in the struggle for life. Jaguar Paw's family, meanwhile, demonstrates their own resilience, surviving the pit's rising waters and the surrounding chaos. The mother's determination to protect her child mirrors Jaguar Paw's relentless pursuit of safety, reinforcing the theme that courage is not singular but collective within a family unit. Each small victory against overwhelming odds, whether in movement, concealment, or improvisation, reinforces the broader message of hope and endurance. The interplay of danger, ingenuity, and emotional strength ensures that survival is portrayed as both a physical and spiritual journey. This dual narrative, father fighting externally, mother persevering internally, heightens the emotional stakes of the story. Finally, the distant glimpse of European ships appears as both a literal and symbolic turning point, signaling the inevitable arrival of a new era. Jaguar Paw understands that the world beyond the jungle will never be the same, that civilizations are collapsing and others are arriving to replace them. Yet he chooses to prioritize his family's immediate safety, retreating into the forest rather than seeking confrontation or engagement. This decision reflects wisdom gained through extreme hardship, a recognition that survival is not just about defeating enemies but about finding refuge in continuity. The ending emphasizes resilience, the power of family, and the enduring human instinct to preserve life against all odds. The forest deepens as Jaguar Paw leads his family further from the ruins of human cruelty, the canopy above filtering sunlight into golden shards that dance on the undergrowth. Each step is measured, each glance cautious, as they navigate around hidden dangers and treacherous paths, the jungle both shielding and testing them. The child clings tighter to his father, sensing the tension yet trusting the rhythm of survival he observes in every movement. Even in exhaustion, Jaguar Paw's mind remains sharp, analyzing sounds, shadows, and the subtle signals that might reveal an enemy's presence. Their journey is no longer just about escape, it is about learning to live in harmony with the unpredictability of nature once again. The remnants of the raiders continue to search, their pursuit fueled by pride and desperation, yet they stumble repeatedly into traps and obstacles that Jaguar Paw anticipates with uncanny precision. Each fall, each misstep, becomes a lesson in the ruthless calculus of survival, where misjudgment carries fatal consequences. Jaguar Paw moves like a ghost through the jungle, unseen yet observant, turning fear into strategy and instinct into a weapon. The film's tension peaks in these sequences, balancing breathtaking action with psychological insight, showing that survival requires not only strength but also patience and foresight. The hunters gradually transform into hunted, their arrogance eroded by the environment and Jaguar Paw's ingenuity. As night falls, the family finds temporary refuge under dense foliage, the moonlight barely penetrating the jungle floor, creating shadows that shift with every whisper of the wind. Fires are kept low, movements quiet, and every sound analyzed for threat or opportunity, highlighting the constant vigilance required to endure. The mother tends to the child with gentle care, whispering lullabies and words of reassurance while Jaguar Paw keeps watch, ears straining to detect the faintest hint of approaching danger. The silence of the night is both comforting and tense, emphasizing the duality of nature as protector and predator. These nocturnal moments deepen the emotional resonance of their survival journey, revealing the quiet strength of familial bonds. Jaguar Paw reflects on the collapse of the Maya civilization as he moves, noticing abandoned villages, eroded temples, and overgrown pathways where human ambition has been overtaken by the relentless power of nature. The film emphasizes that no empire, however grand, can escape decay when greed, fear, and superstition dominate. These sites reinforce the narrative's meditation on mortality, impermanence, and the cycles of human history. Even as he focuses on his family's survival, Jaguar Paw is acutely aware of the broader world falling apart around him, a silent witness to both destruction and renewal. Nature persists, indifferent to human suffering, yet it also provides the tools and shelter necessary for those willing to adapt. The jungle becomes a labyrinth of physical and mental challenges, requiring Jaguar Paw to improvise constantly, using vines, rocks, and river currents to outmaneuver his pursuers. Each encounter with a raider highlights the contrast between brute force and cunning, showing that intelligence and awareness often outweigh sheer violence. The family's unity provides strength, reinforcing that survival is not an individual effort but a collaborative endeavor fueled by trust and shared determination. The child's resilience, mirrored by his parents' unwavering vigilance, exemplifies the human capacity to endure extreme hardship. Every narrow escape heightens suspense while emphasizing the delicate balance between life and death in this hostile environment. The memory of the pit, where his wife and child struggled against the rising water, continues to drive Jaguar Paw forward, a constant reminder of what is at stake. His determination is sharpened by the knowledge that hesitation could result in the loss of the very beings he fights to protect. This memory also reflects the broader theme of parental responsibility, highlighting how love can become the ultimate survival instinct. Each breathless sprint, each calculated leap, carries the weight of promises made in moments of desperation. The narrative intertwines past trauma and present action, creating a continuous thread of emotional intensity throughout the film. Jaguar Paw's ingenuity manifests in the construction of traps designed to exploit the overconfidence and rigidity of the raiders, turning the hunters into victims of their own recklessness. Fallen branches, hidden pits, and cleverly placed obstacles demonstrate his deep understanding of both the jungle and human behavior. The film's choreography of these sequences showcases both physical prowess and mental agility, blending suspense with a visceral sense of danger. Each trap that succeeds reinforces the narrative's message: survival depends on adaptability, observation, and strategic thinking. Violence is never glorified but presented as a necessary tool in the fight for life. The emotional tension remains high as the family navigates rivers, cliffs, and dense undergrowth, each obstacle a test of their endurance and cooperation. Their journey illustrates that survival is as much about communication and mutual support as it is about individual skill. Small gestures of care, a hand held, a whispered warning, a shared moment of rest, are imbued with profound significance in the context of relentless adversity. These moments humanize the epic struggle, reminding the audience that behind every chase and every fight lies a deeply personal story of love, resilience, and hope. The interplay of danger and intimacy elevates the narrative beyond a simple survival tale. The eventual sight of distant oceans and the faint outline of incoming ships signals both opportunity and uncertainty, marking the approaching intersection of worlds. Jaguar Paw realizes that while the immediate threat of raiders may end, new challenges and unknown forces await, symbolizing the inevitable march of history and change. His decision to retreat rather than confront the unknown illustrates wisdom gained through trial and hardship, emphasizing the importance of foresight and prudence. The narrative's tension shifts from pure survival to strategic navigation of an evolving world, highlighting the continuity of human struggle against both natural and social forces. The family moves forward with cautious optimism, embodying hope amidst a landscape of constant threat. Finally, the reunion with his family after the perilous journey completes the emotional arc, blending relief, gratitude, and cautious triumph. Jaguar Paw's embrace of his wife and child affirms the central theme that love and family provide the ultimate motivation for endurance. The newborn, a symbol of life and renewal, embodies the possibility of a future even amidst the ruins of civilization. The forest, though vast and challenging, becomes a sanctuary where the family can begin again, illustrating that survival is not merely the act of avoiding death but of preserving life and nurturing continuity. The narrative closes with a profound meditation on resilience, hope, and the enduring power of human bonds. The forest feels both endless and protective as Jaguar Paw leads his family deeper, each step guided by instinct honed through relentless danger. Every leaf, every shadow, becomes a marker, signaling safety or threat, and forcing heightened awareness at all times. The child grows calmer in his father's presence, learning that survival depends on trust, observation, and patience as much as strength. Small victories, a clear path, a hidden refuge, a safe crossing, are celebrated silently, reinforcing the family's unity. Even in exhaustion, they sense the rhythm of the jungle, moving in tandem with its life and energy. Jaguar Paw reflects on the relentless cycle of violence he has witnessed, understanding that cruelty often stems from fear and desperation rather than inherent malice. His encounters with the raiders reveal the fragility of human morality when survival becomes the only law. The jungle becomes a mirror, showing both the resilience and the darkness inherent in humanity, and teaching him lessons that go beyond immediate danger. Each moment of calm allows him to strategize, preparing for encounters that could arise at any turn. The forest is alive, shaping the journey as much as the people within it, and demanding respect through constant vigilance. The mother's resolve remains steadfast as she cares for the child, demonstrating courage that rivals Jaguar Paw's physical endurance. Her resourcefulness, finding edible plants, creating shelter, and soothing the child, illustrates that survival is multifaceted, requiring intellect, adaptability, and emotional strength. The bond between parents and child grows stronger with each shared struggle, reinforcing the narrative's central message: love is the ultimate driver of resilience. Quiet moments by the river, under trees, or within hidden clearings provide respite while deepening the audience's connection to their humanity. These interludes balance action with emotional depth, highlighting survival as a holistic experience. The forest's dangers are constant, from hidden predators to treacherous terrain, yet Jaguar Paw's awareness allows him to turn obstacles into advantages. Fallen logs become bridges, vines become tools, and river currents aid in evasion. Each calculated move demonstrates not just physical skill but deep cognitive engagement with the environment. The raiders, in contrast, struggle because they fail to adapt, their rigid aggression clashing with the fluidity of nature. This dynamic underscores one of the film's core themes: survival is achieved through flexibility, intelligence, and harmony with the natural world, rather than brute force alone. As they travel, Jaguar Paw notices subtle signs of human presence: distant smoke, traces of animals disturbed, paths overgrown yet recently walked, and interprets these signs to avoid confrontation. Every decision balances speed and caution, reflecting a nuanced understanding of risk. The jungle becomes a living puzzle, requiring the synthesis of observation, memory, and instinct to navigate successfully. These moments emphasize that survival is a continuous problem-solving exercise, demanding focus and creativity at every step. The family's progress, though slow and measured, embodies persistence in the face of relentless adversity. The narrative returns repeatedly to the emotional stakes, reminding the audience that every action is tied to the promise made to protect family. Memories of separation, struggle, and near loss infuse each step with urgency and meaning, creating an emotional thread that binds the action sequences together. Jaguar Paw's courage is inseparable from his love. His survival is not a personal triumph but a fulfillment of responsibility. The jungle tests not only body and skill but heart and spirit, making each successful maneuver a testament to human resilience. These intertwined physical and emotional challenges sustain tension while deepening narrative richness. The approaching coastline offers glimpses of both danger and hope, where jagged rocks and turbulent rivers intersect with the promise of escape. Jaguar Paw senses the shifting balance, understanding that the environment can now serve both as ally and final trial. Strategic thinking combines with instinct, as he calculates risks and exploits the terrain to maximize safety for his family. Each crossing, each leap, each hidden movement reinforces the stakes, heightening suspense while illustrating mastery of survival techniques. The audience feels every heartbeat, every breath, as the journey presses toward resolution. The child, observing and learning, becomes a symbol of the future, embodying both vulnerability and emerging resilience. His reactions to the environment, the subtle mimicry of his father's movements, and the trust he places in his parents reinforce the narrative's focus on generational continuity. Jaguar Paw and his wife's guidance is both protective and educational, showing that survival encompasses teaching, adaptation, and preparation for challenges yet unseen. The interplay between parent and child provides emotional grounding amidst relentless action, ensuring that every peril is weighted with profound human significance. These moments affirm that survival is a shared journey, not an individual feat. Encounters with remnants of civilization, abandoned villages, decayed structures, and fields overtaken by nature, remind Jaguar Paw of the impermanence of human constructs. Civilization's fragility contrasts sharply with the enduring resilience of nature, creating a backdrop that amplifies the stakes of personal survival. These scenes also underscore a larger historical commentary: empires may fall, societies may crumble, but the human instinct to endure persists across time and circumstance. The jungle and ruins together serve as both setting and metaphor, reflecting the tension between destruction and the possibility of renewal. Jaguar Paw's journey through this landscape becomes a narrative of continuity amid collapse. Finally, as the family approaches relative safety, the tension softens slightly, but vigilance remains essential, illustrating that survival is an ongoing process rather than a single achievement. Each sound, movement, or distant figure is assessed for potential threat, reinforcing the continuous nature of alertness required in hostile environments. The story's rhythm mirrors life itself, moments of reprieve punctuated by new challenges, demanding adaptation, courage, and unity. The family's journey demonstrates that survival is sustained through resilience, awareness, and enduring love, culminating in the sense of hope that persists despite a world filled with danger. The narrative balances resolution with realism, emphasizing that the fight to live is unending yet deeply meaningful. The family moves through the jungle with growing confidence, each step a delicate balance of speed, stealth, and observation, yet the weight of past trauma lingers with every breath. Jaguar Paw remains acutely aware that the raiders may still be tracking them, and every movement is calculated to maintain the upper hand while avoiding unnecessary risk. The child begins to trust the rhythms of the forest, absorbing lessons of survival through quiet observation and shared experience. Even small sounds, the rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig, carry immense significance, shaping decisions that could mean life or death. The jungle, once oppressive, now feels like a living classroom, teaching the family the art of adaptation. Jaguar Paw reflects on the futility and vanity of the collapsing Maya civilization, noting the contrast between its ostentatious temples and the suffering that drove him and his family to flee. He recognizes that societies built on fear, superstition, and ritual sacrifice may appear powerful, but they are vulnerable to internal decay and external forces. These reflections deepen the narrative, blending survival action with historical meditation, as Jaguar Paw's journey mirrors the broader human struggle against societal collapse. Nature, patient and indifferent, persists beyond empires, offering both sanctuary and challenge to those willing to respect it. Every moment of reflection reinforces the film's thematic depth, marrying visceral tension with philosophical undertones. The family faces natural obstacles, steep cliffs, rushing rivers, and dense undergrowth, each a new test of endurance and ingenuity. Jaguar Paw improvises solutions with swift thinking, using vines, rocks, and tree roots to navigate safely, turning potential perils into tools for survival. The mother's contributions are equally vital, identifying edible plants, stabilizing paths, and soothing the child when fear or fatigue threatens morale. Each successful crossing becomes a subtle triumph, a reminder that resilience is built on cooperation, knowledge, and foresight rather than raw strength alone. The narrative continues to elevate survival as a holistic, emotionally and intellectually demanding process. The echoes of pursuit remain, as the surviving raiders struggle to follow Jaguar Paw's path, hindered by their own lack of understanding and impatience. Each failed attempt emphasizes the contrast between brute force and thoughtful strategy, underscoring the central idea that intelligence, observation, and adaptability are key to endurance. The tension rises when the raiders inadvertently trigger traps or misread signs, allowing Jaguar Paw's family to widen the distance between predator and prey. This interplay reinforces suspense while highlighting the ingenuity required to navigate both natural and human-made threats. The film maintains relentless engagement by intertwining high-stakes physical action with clever tactical thinking. Nightfall brings another layer of challenge as darkness envelopes the forest, hiding both danger and opportunity in equal measure. Fires are kept minimal, movements are slow and deliberate, and every sound is scrutinized for potential threats, demonstrating the acute awareness required for survival in such an environment. The family rests only briefly, the child learning to sleep while remaining alert, and the parents balancing rest with vigilance. These nocturnal sequences emphasize endurance not only of the body but of mind and spirit, showing that survival is a continuous mental exercise. Each night strengthens their bond, teaching trust, patience, and the quiet courage necessary to face another day. The approaching coastline becomes both goal and obstacle, as jagged rocks and unpredictable currents present new hazards that must be overcome with care and precision. Jaguar Paw uses his knowledge of terrain and instinctual timing to navigate safely, demonstrating the fusion of experience and innate skill. Each maneuver, each leap, is fraught with tension, keeping the audience invested in both immediate survival and the broader arc of his journey. The environment itself serves as a character in the narrative, offering challenges that are unpredictable, demanding, and ultimately transformative. Through these sequences, the film illustrates that survival is an evolving, adaptive practice rather than a static endeavor. The family's resilience grows as they face continuous challenges, demonstrating that survival is a shared endeavor strengthened by unity, trust, and determination. Every decision, from choosing a path to improvising a shelter, reinforces the importance of collaboration and mutual support. The child's observation and learning during these moments signify generational continuity, suggesting that survival skills, knowledge, and resilience are passed down through shared experience. Quiet moments of care and reassurance reinforce the film's emotional core, balancing tension with humanity. Each successful navigation of danger becomes a testament to the enduring power of love and cohesion in the face of relentless adversity. Jaguar Paw frequently pauses to observe distant signs of civilization or movement, balancing curiosity with caution as he plans their next steps. He understands that encountering other humans may present new threats or opportunities, requiring careful judgment and foresight. These moments highlight strategic thinking as an essential component of survival, emphasizing observation, anticipation, and decision-making under pressure. The narrative maintains suspense while reinforcing thematic depth, showing that survival is as much about perception and understanding as it is about action. Each careful assessment demonstrates the interplay between intellect, instinct, and experience. As the family nears relative safety, the tension begins to shift from immediate pursuit to the anticipation of a new life beyond the jungle, though challenges remain ever present. Jaguar Paw's reflections emphasize the transient nature of both danger and relief, reinforcing the idea that survival is a continuous journey, not a final destination. The forest provides shelter and sustenance, yet remains unpredictable, reminding the family that vigilance and adaptability are lifelong practices. Every step forward, every decision made, carries the weight of their shared history and the promise of continuity. The narrative balances resolution with realism, ensuring that hope is tempered by the realities of the environment and human vulnerability. The final reunion with his wife and child represents the emotional and symbolic culmination of the journey, blending relief, gratitude, and cautious triumph. The newborn child, recently born in the pit, embodies renewal, hope, and the continuation of life despite overwhelming adversity. Jaguar Paw's embrace of his family signifies not only physical survival but the preservation of emotional and moral purpose, affirming that love is the ultimate motivator. The forest, though still imposing, becomes a sanctuary where they can begin anew, illustrating that endurance is both a personal and collective achievement. The story concludes with the profound message that survival is inseparable from connection, courage, and the human will to protect what matters most. The family moves cautiously toward the edge of the jungle, where dense foliage gives way to open terrain and the faint sound of waves signals the approaching coastline. Every step is measured, as Jaguar Paw balances the need for speed with the awareness that danger could lurk in even the most peaceful surroundings. The child clings to his father, now learning the rhythms of survival, while the mother watches the horizon with equal vigilance. The forest seems to recognize their purpose, guiding them with hidden paths and natural cover, reinforcing the bond between humans and nature. Each moment feels suspended between relief and tension, as freedom approaches yet remains just out of reach. Jaguar Paw reflects on the journey that has brought them here, from a peaceful forest village through the horrors of raiders and ritual sacrifice, and finally into the wild unknown. He realizes that survival has required more than strength or skill, it has demanded intelligence, patience, adaptability, and unbreakable resolve. Each challenge has refined his instincts, sharpened his perception, and strengthened the emotional bond between him and his family. The collapsing Maya civilization and the arrival of new forces in the distance remind him that the world beyond the forest is unpredictable, yet his focus remains singular: protect and nurture the family he has fought so desperately to save. Their journey has become both a personal odyssey and a universal story of resilience. As they reach a vantage point overlooking the ocean, the distant European ships appear like silent giants, signaling change, unknown possibilities, and the irreversible passage of history. The raiders, finally confronted with forces greater than themselves, falter and retreat, allowing Jaguar Paw a moment of hard-earned triumph. This encounter underscores the broader theme of survival amidst shifting civilizations and the inevitability of historical transformation. Jaguar Paw chooses not to confront the newcomers, demonstrating wisdom gained through experience and understanding that endurance often requires discretion over confrontation. The forest, ocean, and distant horizon combine to symbolize both the end of one struggle and the potential for a new beginning. The final act of the journey focuses on reunion, restoration, and renewal as Jaguar Paw returns to the pit where his wife and newborn child awaited rescue. He lifts them to safety, their faces filled with exhaustion, relief, and the quiet joy of being reunited. The newborn, a symbol of life persisting despite adversity, cries into the humid air, signaling hope, continuity, and the triumph of human perseverance. Jaguar Paw embraces his family, acknowledging that the journey has tested body, mind, and spirit but has ultimately reaffirmed the enduring power of love and determination. The jungle around them, though still wild and imposing, transforms into a sanctuary, reflecting the harmony that can be reclaimed through courage and vigilance. In the concluding moments, Jaguar Paw leads his family deeper into the forest, leaving behind the ruins, the raiders, and the remnants of a civilization in collapse. The camera lingers on the dense canopy, flowing rivers, and distant ocean, emphasizing the continuity of life and the resilience of nature. Each step into the unknown reinforces the central narrative truth: survival is not just about escaping death but about preserving life, nurturing bonds, and maintaining hope against overwhelming odds. The story closes on a note of quiet triumph, blending realism with symbolic resonance, showing that human endurance is sustained by love, courage, and the wisdom to navigate a constantly changing world. Apocalypto leaves the audience with the profound realization that the human spirit can endure, adapt, and thrive even amidst chaos and collapse. The film's legacy endures because it combines visceral action with deep emotional and philosophical themes, portraying the raw intensity of survival while reflecting on the fragility and resilience of human civilizations. Every chase, every struggle, and every moment of reflection captures the intricate interplay of instinct, love, and adaptability. The audience witnesses a journey that is at once personal and universal, where the survival of one man and his family mirrors the broader cycles of human history. Jaguar Paw's story becomes a timeless testament to courage, the power of familial bonds, and the enduring connection between humans and the natural world. Through its relentless tension, emotional depth, and cinematic mastery, Apocalypto remains a powerful exploration of what it means to fight, endure, and preserve life against all odds. The story of Apocalypto begins in a forested world of harmony and rhythm, where Jaguar Paw's tribe moves with ease among the trees, laughter, and rituals that have sustained them for generations. The forest breathes alongside them, and every sunrise brings a sense of calm and belonging, painting life in colors of warmth and simplicity. Children play under the watchful eyes of elders, hunters bring sustenance from the surrounding wilderness, and life pulses in harmony with nature. Yet beneath this serenity, subtle hints of danger whisper through stories and distant memories of other villages destroyed, foreshadowing the coming storm. This peaceful existence forms the emotional foundation from which the brutal upheaval of the narrative will later unfold. At dawn, the fragile peace is shattered as raiders from a collapsing Maya civilization descend with sudden, merciless force. Homes are burned, elders are slain, and children are seized as prisoners in a world that has become cruel and chaotic. Jaguar Paw's heart races as he hides his pregnant wife and child in a deep pit, whispering promises of return that cling to hope amidst the smoke and screams. Every corner of the village is torn apart, and the once safe forest becomes a landscape of fear, ashes, and desperation. The attack establishes the central tension of survival and the relentless pursuit that will define Jaguar Paw's journey. The march toward the Maya city is an exhausting ordeal, with prisoners forced to walk under the blazing sun while hunger, disease, and fear weigh heavily upon them. Along the path, Jaguar Paw witnesses the destruction of other tribes and the harsh reality that entire communities have been wiped out. The guards, hardened by fear and indoctrination, offer no mercy, serving as instruments of an empire struggling to survive through violence and ritual. Each step forward is a lesson in endurance, illustrating that survival is both a physical and psychological challenge. The contrast between the forest life they once knew and the violence of human society underscores the fragility of civilization itself. Upon arrival at the Maya city, Jaguar Paw is confronted with chaos and grandeur, towering stone pyramids, bustling marketplaces, and a society teetering on the edge of collapse. Disease, famine, and fear ripple through the streets, masked by ritual and displays of wealth. The captives are prepared for sacrifice, a brutal demonstration of a civilization attempting to appease gods with human blood. Drums beat, chants echo, and the crowd's fervor transforms horror into ritualized spectacle. Jaguar Paw is brought to the pyramid, his fate seemingly sealed as he faces death at the hands of a society desperate to survive by destroying others. Just as he is about to be sacrificed, a sudden solar eclipse halts the ritual, interpreted by the priests as divine satisfaction. The remaining captives are spared death, but freedom is denied. Instead, they are forced into a sadistic chase where they must run while warriors attempt to kill them. Jaguar Paw's instincts take over as he navigates the chaos, evading arrows and traps while wounded, his thoughts fixed on the pit where his wife and child remain. The jungle becomes both refuge and battleground, each step a measure of cunning, skill, and survival instinct. The narrative pivots into a relentless chase, blending tension, action, and emotional stakes. In the jungle, Jaguar Paw demonstrates mastery over terrain, using vines, rivers, and pitfalls to evade pursuers, turning natural hazards into tools of survival. The raiders, driven by pride and obsession, struggle to anticipate his moves and are gradually eliminated one by one. Jaguar Paw's awareness of his environment becomes as vital as his physical endurance, highlighting the intelligence and adaptability required to survive. Parallel scenes of his wife and child in the pit reveal their own struggle, rising waters threatening to drown them as they fight for life with courage and ingenuity. These sequences interweave physical action with emotional intensity, showing survival as both external and deeply personal. Night in the jungle is a crucible of vigilance, patience, and resilience, as Jaguar Paw keeps watch while his wife cares for the child. Fires are kept low to avoid detection, and every sound is scrutinized for potential danger. These nocturnal moments emphasize the psychological aspect of survival, where fear and hope coexist, and where emotional strength is as critical as physical prowess. The child begins to internalize lessons of observation, trust, and endurance, mirroring the parent's wisdom and preparation. The forest at night is a teacher, its darkness both threatening and instructive, shaping the family's journey toward safety. As they navigate deeper into the forest, Jaguar Paw reflects on the Maya civilization's collapse, observing abandoned villages, decayed temples, and overgrown fields overtaken by nature. The contrast between the permanence of nature and the fragility of human constructs underscores a central theme: empires rise and fall, but the human spirit endures. He understands that survival requires not just escape but learning, adaptability, and patience. Every step through these ruins reinforces the film's meditation on mortality, societal fragility, and the continuity of life. The jungle becomes a lens through which history and human resilience are reflected. The approach to the coastline adds new challenges: jagged rocks, rushing rivers, and treacherous currents test their coordination and ingenuity. Jaguar Paw uses instinct, skill, and improvisation to navigate these obstacles while teaching his family to move with awareness. Each crossing becomes a subtle victory, reinforcing the theme of survival as a combination of intelligence, cooperation, and adaptability. The child's observations, actions, and growing confidence signify the passing of knowledge and the continuity of resilience across generations. These sequences balance tension and triumph, illustrating survival as a dynamic, evolving process. Encounters with the remaining raiders continue, but Jaguar Paw's traps and strategic thinking ensure that each threat is neutralized efficiently. Fallen branches, hidden pits, and the terrain itself become weapons in the hands of a man honed by necessity and love for his family. The contrast between brute force and tactical intelligence underscores the film's philosophical undertones, showing that survival requires both mental acuity and physical endurance. Every successful evasion or confrontation reinforces the story's emotional weight, linking action to the broader theme of protecting what matters most. The relentless tension remains, yet hope grows with each step toward safety. Nightfall again provides moments of rest, but vigilance cannot be abandoned. The family learns to move, observe, and rest simultaneously, balancing the need for survival with the human need for connection. Small gestures, a hand held, a whispered word, a shared moment of warmth, sustain morale and deepen the bond between them. The child matures in understanding and resilience, absorbing lessons of observation, patience, and courage. These moments of quiet intimacy amidst danger highlight the holistic nature of survival, integrating emotional, cognitive, and physical endurance. The distant sight of European ships on the horizon introduces a new layer of tension and symbolism, marking the arrival of forces beyond their comprehension. The raiders falter before this new presence, granting Jaguar Paw a strategic advantage and the opportunity for temporary relief. He chooses discretion over confrontation, understanding that survival often requires wisdom, timing, and restraint. This moment reflects the larger historical context, emphasizing the collapse of one civilization and the impending transformation brought by new arrivals. The family's journey towards safety now intersects with the broader sweep of history, blending personal struggle with historical inevitability. The climactic reunion with his wife and newborn child represents the emotional and symbolic apex of the narrative. Jaguar Paw lifts them from the pit, exhausted but triumphant, their survival a testament to courage, ingenuity, and the unbreakable bonds of family. The newborn symbolizes hope, renewal, and the possibility of a future even in the wake of overwhelming adversity. The jungle, once a site of terror and challenge, transforms into sanctuary as the family begins anew, demonstrating that survival is not merely the avoidance of death but the preservation of life, love, and continuity. These final moments crystallize the film's themes, blending visceral action with profound emotional resonance. The closing sequences emphasize endurance, resilience, and the quiet triumph of human spirit as Jaguar Paw leads his family deeper into the forest. Nature, indifferent yet sustaining, provides both challenges and refuge, symbolizing the duality of life and survival. Each step forward, though cautious, reflects mastery, wisdom, and the protective drive that has guided them through chaos and death. The forest, rivers, and distant ocean underscore the continuity of life and the persistence of hope, even as civilizations fall around them. Apocalypto concludes with the enduring message that love, courage, and adaptability allow humanity to endure, thrive, and create new beginnings amidst chaos. The film's legacy lies in its combination of visceral action, emotional depth, and historical reflection, portraying the raw intensity of survival while engaging with broader themes of human fragility and resilience. Every chase, every confrontation, and every quiet moment of care underscores the interconnection of body, mind, and spirit in the struggle to live. Jaguar Paw's journey embodies a universal story, the protection of family, the navigation of a collapsing world, and the persistence of human ingenuity and courage. Nature, history, and personal resolve intertwine to create a narrative of enduring strength and continuity. Through meticulous craftsmanship, immersive storytelling, and emotional richness, Apocalypto remains a timeless exploration of what it means to survive, adapt, and persevere. The story of Apocalypto begins in the lush, sun-dappled forests of Mesoamerica, where life flows with a rhythm shaped by nature and tradition. Jaguar Paw's tribe moves with harmony, their every action in tune with the cycles of the sun, the rustle of leaves, and the distant calls of wildlife echoing through the canopy. Children laugh as they chase one another among the trees, elders impart wisdom in the flickering light of communal fires, and hunters return with the fruits of patience and skill, creating a tapestry of life that is orderly yet vibrant. The air carries the scent of wet earth, fresh fruits, and smoke from morning fires, a sensory symphony that illustrates the tribe's deep connection to their environment. Beneath this serenity, whispers of distant violence and stories of destroyed villages foreshadow an upheaval, a tension that lingers quietly yet palpably in the daily rhythm of life. Every element of the forest feels alive, from the slow crawl of vines across fallen trunks to the sudden splash of fish in hidden streams, reinforcing the intimate knowledge the tribe has of their surroundings. Jaguar Paw walks with alert calmness, observing every movement, listening for the faintest hint of danger, yet allowing himself moments of joy as the children's laughter echoes through the undergrowth. Rituals, songs, and communal work fill the days, binding the people together in a social fabric as intricate as the woven baskets and textiles they create. Nature provides food, shelter, and lessons, teaching balance, patience, and attentiveness, shaping character and survival instincts alike. Yet the undercurrent of unease, tales of raiders and collapsing cities, exists as a subtle reminder that this idyllic world is fragile, and even the safest village may be swept into chaos at any moment. At dawn, the fragile peace is violently shattered as raiders from a decaying Maya civilization descend upon the village with terrifying efficiency. Huts are set ablaze, screams fill the air, and men, women, and children are seized or slaughtered in moments of chaos that obliterate the quiet order of daily life. Jaguar Paw, heart-pounding, hides his pregnant wife and child in a pit he has dug, whispering promises of survival that cling to hope even as the world around him collapses. Smoke rises in thick plumes, mingling with the cries of the wounded and terrified, creating a sensory scene of fire, ash, and despair that contrasts starkly with the previous harmony. This moment defines the central conflict of the film, setting in motion a relentless struggle for life, family, and dignity in the face of merciless violence. The forced march to the Maya city is a relentless test of endurance, with captives driven across miles of unforgiving terrain under the burning sun. Hunger gnaws at their bodies, fatigue clouds their senses, and fear presses heavily on every step, turning each moment into a test of willpower. Jaguar Paw witnesses the devastation of other communities along the way, villages stripped bare, evidence of systematic destruction that underscores the raiders' indiscriminate brutality. The guards show no mercy, punishing hesitation with violence and reminding all that survival is contingent upon compliance, speed, and resilience. The psychological toll of the march weighs heavily, revealing that survival requires mental fortitude as much as physical skill. Every sensory detail heightens the tension, the pungent odor of sweat and blood, the coarse touch of rope bindings, and the oppressive heat create an almost tactile experience of suffering and fear. Jaguar Paw's mind oscillates between panic and clarity, calculating the minimal steps needed to preserve energy, avoid attacks, and anticipate hazards along the route. Each fleeting glance at the horizon reveals both hope and danger, while the cries of distant captives merge with the wailing of the wind through trees, a haunting accompaniment to their forced pilgrimage. Nature, though ever-present, offers little comfort, forcing the protagonist to navigate both the human threat and the unpredictable landscape. These moments of acute awareness amplify the narrative tension, merging emotional stakes with environmental immersion. Upon arrival at the Maya city, Jaguar Paw is overwhelmed by the sensory onslaught of urban chaos, towering stone temples, bustling marketplaces, and the cries of citizens moving between despair and ritualistic fervor. Disease, famine, and superstition permeate the air, mingling with incense, blood, and the scent of food from crowded kitchens. Captives are lined up for ritual sacrifice, a horrific spectacle performed to appease gods who are powerless to halt the decline of their civilization. Drums beat in a relentless cadence, chants echo through stone corridors, and the audience is drawn into the psychological horror of ritualized violence. Every architectural detail, every painted face, and every ceremonial gesture reinforces the dichotomy between civilization's grandeur and its moral collapse. As the sacrificial ritual reaches its apex, a sudden solar eclipse halts the proceedings, interpreted by priests as a divine signal of satisfaction. The crowd erupts into hysteria and relief, their devotion momentarily appeased, yet the prisoners are not granted freedom. They are instead thrust into a sadistic chase, forced to run for their lives while elite warriors pursue them relentlessly through the surrounding jungle. Jaguar Paw's instincts take over, guiding him through a landscape of natural and human obstacles, each step a delicate negotiation between survival and exhaustion. The pit, where his wife and child await, remains the emotional anchor that drives his determination and ingenuity, creating a layered narrative of external danger and internal motivation. The jungle transforms into a living battlefield, where every leaf, vine, and river bend can serve as a tool or trap. Jaguar Paw manipulates his surroundings with precision, turning terrain into weaponry and using the raiders' arrogance against them. Each hunter becomes a target, each misstep a fatal opportunity, emphasizing the film's recurring theme: intelligence and adaptability often outweigh brute force. The sensory immersion intensifies, the rustle of predators in the undergrowth, the scent of rain-soaked earth, and the chill of night create a visceral landscape that is as alive as the characters themselves. Parallel sequences reveal his wife and child struggling in the pit against rising water, their fight for life a mirror of Jaguar Paw's own trials. Night in the jungle is a crucible of endurance, vigilance, and emotional fortitude. Fires are kept minimal to avoid detection, while every sound is scrutinized for threats, both animal and human. The child learns the subtleties of observation, mirroring the adult lessons of patience and alertness, while the mother's care and creativity ensure their survival. The forest becomes simultaneously a protector and a test, teaching lessons in patience, resourcefulness, and resilience. These nocturnal sequences blend tension with intimacy, showing survival as a process that engages body, mind, and heart. Jaguar Paw's mind constantly recalculates risks as he navigates the jungle, using every element of the environment to his advantage. Fallen trees become bridges or barriers, vines serve as tools for climbing or setting traps, and rivers provide both concealment and danger. His awareness extends to subtle signs, broken twigs, disturbed leaves, distant animal calls, each a potential clue about the pursuer's location. The raiders, relentless yet predictable in their aggression, falter when faced with these natural obstacles, gradually being eliminated by their own misjudgments. The narrative intertwines suspense, strategy, and physical prowess, illustrating survival as a sophisticated interplay of instinct, intelligence, and environmental mastery. Parallel scenes show his wife and child grappling with the rising water in the pit, improvising with debris to stay afloat and using sheer determination to protect one another. The mother's resourcefulness mirrors Jaguar Paw's ingenuity, reinforcing the story's theme that survival is not the burden of one individual but a collective effort. The child begins to recognize patterns, where to hold, how to move, and when to remain still, absorbing lessons crucial to enduring a hostile world. Moments of whispered encouragement, careful positioning, and shared labor become acts of both immediate survival and long-term instruction. The interplay between father and mother highlights that love and intelligence are equally powerful tools against adversity. The forest at night amplifies the intensity of their struggle, shadows twisting into shapes of imagined threats, while the real dangers of predators and pursuing raiders remain ever present. Fires are dim and carefully controlled, casting flickering light that alternately comforts and alarms. Jaguar Paw remains vigilant, ears attuned to the faintest rustle, eyes scanning the shifting shadows for danger or opportunity. Each nocturnal scene emphasizes psychological resilience, showing that survival requires constant mental engagement, not just physical effort. The audience experiences the tension acutely, immersed in the delicate balance between alertness and exhaustion. Jaguar Paw reflects on the broader collapse of Maya civilization as he moves through abandoned villages and overgrown temples. Crumbling stone and moss-covered carvings tell stories of power, ambition, and failure, juxtaposed against the resilience of the natural world. The decay of once great structures mirrors the moral collapse he has witnessed, emphasizing that survival is both personal and emblematic of larger historical forces. Nature reclaims the ruins with relentless patience, reinforcing the theme that life persists, even as empires fall. These reflections deepen the narrative, adding philosophical resonance to the high-stakes chase. The approach to rivers and cliffs presents new tactical challenges, forcing Jaguar Paw to improvise quickly and creatively. He uses currents to obscure his movement, cliffs to create natural barriers, and dense vegetation to hide from pursuers. The raiders' failure to adapt to these environmental complexities underscores their reliance on brute force and their vulnerability to ingenuity. Each maneuver, each improvised trap, highlights the film's recurrent message: survival is achieved through observation, creativity, and harmony with the natural world. The forest itself becomes a character, an unpredictable ally that tests and teaches in equal measure. Small victories along the journey, a safe crossing, a successfully evaded ambush, or a quiet moment of rest, carry profound significance for Jaguar Paw and his family. These triumphs reinforce morale, build confidence, and symbolize the power of resilience and strategic thinking. The child observes and internalizes these moments, demonstrating that survival skills are passed down through both example and experience. Intimate exchanges, like whispered instructions or shared laughter in fleeting safety, emphasize that emotional bonds are critical to endurance. Each step forward becomes a meditation on perseverance, patience, and the continuity of life. The persistent raiders continue their pursuit, yet the traps and terrain set by Jaguar Paw continually shift the balance of power. Fallen branches, hidden pits, and cleverly placed obstacles turn the hunters into prey, demonstrating that intelligence, patience, and foresight can counter violence and aggression. Each encounter reinforces the psychological dimension of survival, showing that understanding and exploiting patterns is as essential as physical ability. The narrative tension remains high, blending suspense with reflections on human cunning, instinct, and the moral lessons embedded in life and death struggles. The chase sequences are both thrilling and intellectually engaging, maintaining narrative momentum. As the family nears the coastline, environmental challenges intensify, jagged rocks, strong currents, and steep drops demand careful judgment and coordination. Jaguar Paw demonstrates mastery of these natural hazards, timing jumps, swings, and crossings with precision honed by prior experience. His wife supports the child, demonstrating calm decisiveness and teaching adaptive strategies in real time. Each successful navigation reinforces the themes of resilience, cooperation, and applied intelligence. The audience witnesses the culmination of lessons learned, the refinement of instincts, and the synergy of physical skill and cognitive awareness required to survive. The distant sight of European ships introduces both awe and uncertainty, signaling the arrival of new civilizations and unforeseen challenges. The raiders hesitate and falter, granting Jaguar Paw a momentary reprieve, yet the tension of the unknown persists. He chooses discretion over confrontation, highlighting the narrative's ongoing emphasis on strategy, patience, and wisdom. This moment underscores the broader historical context, showing the intersection of personal survival with the inexorable forces of history and the cyclical nature of civilizations. The approaching horizon becomes a metaphor for possibility, change, and the persistence of hope. Finally, the reunion with his wife and newborn child marks a profound emotional apex, blending relief, gratitude, and cautious triumph. The newborn embodies renewal, the continuity of life, and hope against overwhelming adversity. Jaguar Paw's embrace signals not just the preservation of life, but the protection of values, love, and moral purpose amidst chaos. The forest, previously a site of terror and trial, transforms into sanctuary, reflecting the harmony that can be reclaimed through courage, skill, and vigilance. The concluding moments crystallize the film's themes. Survival is both a physical and spiritual achievement, inseparable from love, family, and human ingenuity. Jaguar Paw's steps become more deliberate as he guides his family through the dense undergrowth, each movement informed by prior experience and acute observation. Every rustle of leaves, chirp of a bird, or distant splash of water is analyzed for hidden meaning, turning the forest into both a sanctuary and a testing ground. His wife mirrors his vigilance, moving quietly while keeping the child close, reinforcing the partnership and trust that sustains them. Each moment of careful progress is a testament to endurance, patience, and adaptability, showing that survival is as much about mindfulness as it is about strength. The environment, alive with textures, smells, and sounds, serves as both challenge and teacher. The jungle's wildlife creates constant tension and lessons, as predators silently stalk, insects bite, and the elements shift unpredictably. Jaguar Paw interprets these signals instinctively, understanding the forest's rhythms and using them to gain advantage over the raiders. Streams and rivers offer both respite and hazard, requiring calculated courage to cross without detection. The child observes, wide-eyed, absorbing not only survival techniques but the rhythm of life itself, a choreography of observation, instinct, and learning. The forest is simultaneously adversary, ally, and classroom, shaping character and reinforcing the narrative's theme of human resilience within the natural world. Meanwhile, remnants of the Maya raiders continue to search, their frustration mounting as each trap and misjudgment erodes their confidence. Fallen branches, camouflaged pits, and hidden vines transform the hunters into hapless participants in a battle dictated by the jungle itself. Jaguar Paw's understanding of terrain and human psychology allows him to predict and manipulate their movements, turning relentless pursuit into calculated advantage. These sequences combine cinematic suspense with reflections on strategy, intelligence, and adaptability, emphasizing that survival is an active mental and physical endeavor. Every narrow escape heightens tension while demonstrating ingenuity as a tool for endurance. At night, the interplay of shadows and moonlight creates both concealment and psychological strain. The family's movements are minimized, whispers become a primary form of communication, and even minor sounds carry enormous significance. Fires are controlled to avoid attracting attention, casting flickering light that alternately comforts and unsettles. The mother's care for the child, soothing and guiding him in this liminal space, highlights the emotional depth and resilience required to endure prolonged danger. These nocturnal sequences illustrate that survival is continuous, encompassing both alertness and the emotional maintenance of hope and morale. Jaguar Paw reflects on the ruins and remnants of civilizations overtaken by time and nature, noting crumbling stone structures, overgrown temples, and abandoned plazas. The juxtaposition of human ambition with natural reclamation underscores the transient nature of empires and the enduring power of life itself. He understands that history repeats itself through cycles of creation, destruction, and adaptation, and that survival depends on recognizing and navigating these patterns. Each observation deepens his insight into both human nature and environmental interaction, merging practical survival skills with philosophical reflection. The narrative thus intertwines external action with internal contemplation, giving depth to the relentless chase. Approaching rivers and waterfalls, the family faces new hazards that require ingenuity, timing, and courage. Jaguar Paw uses fallen logs, currents, and natural barriers to his advantage, turning potential danger into tactical opportunity. His wife's guidance ensures the child's safety, demonstrating collaborative problem-solving and adaptive thinking. Each successful maneuver reinforces the narrative's emphasis on intelligence, observation, and cooperation as vital tools for survival. These sequences showcase the ongoing challenge of navigating a hostile environment while protecting loved ones, blending suspense with emotional resonance. Small victories, such as evading pursuit or finding shelter, become crucial moments of psychological reinforcement. Each success builds confidence, teaches lessons, and provides fleeting relief amidst the relentless tension of survival. The child learns through observation and experience, internalizing principles of alertness, timing, and cooperation. Quiet gestures, reassuring hand, a whispered instruction, a shared breath, demonstrate that love, trust, and emotional intelligence are as essential as physical skill. The narrative emphasizes that survival is a holistic process, integrating body, mind, and spirit into a continuous practice of adaptation. The pursuit intensifies as the raiders become more desperate and reckless, making predictable mistakes that Jaguar Paw exploits with precision. Fallen branches, camouflaged pitfalls, and knowledge of natural terrain transform the environment into an extension of his strategic thinking. Each encounter illustrates the principle that awareness and cunning can outweigh aggression and brute strength. The sequences combine suspense, danger, and reflection on human psychology, reinforcing the film's core themes. The audience experiences every heartbeat, every leap, and every decision, immersed in the tense balance between predator and prey. The approaching coastline signals both relief and the unknown, as turbulent rivers, rocky cliffs, and dense underbrush present new challenges to navigate. Jaguar Paw calculates each crossing with meticulous care, balancing risk and necessity, while his wife supports and guides the child with patience and skill. Each passage becomes a symbolic act of endurance, showcasing the synthesis of physical agility, cognitive acuity, and emotional resilience. The environment, dynamic and unpredictable, continues to test their mastery while offering hidden paths and resources. These moments exemplify survival as a combination of learned skill, instinct, and adaptive intelligence. The sight of distant European ships introduces awe, uncertainty, and a new dynamic into the landscape. The raiders hesitate, giving Jaguar Paw a momentary advantage, yet the unknown threat of foreign arrival creates narrative tension and historical resonance. He chooses discretion over confrontation, highlighting strategic thinking, prudence, and long-term survival planning. This intersection of personal survival with the broader sweep of history reinforces the narrative's depth, showing that adaptability extends beyond immediate danger to the comprehension of larger forces. The horizon becomes both literal and metaphorical, representing opportunity, risk, and the persistence of hope. Jaguar Paw carefully navigates the shifting landscape as the jungle gives way to rivers, cliffs, and more open terrain, each step measured to maintain stealth while advancing toward freedom. His body is exhausted, muscles trembling from the cumulative strain, yet his mind remains sharp, calculating distance, timing, and potential threats. The child clings to him, mimicking movements and learning the art of careful observation, absorbing lessons that extend beyond immediate survival. His wife moves with quiet determination, balancing care for the child with the constant need for vigilance. Every moment emphasizes that survival is an ongoing negotiation between courage, intelligence, and the unpredictable will of nature. The roar of waterfalls and rushing rivers introduces both hazard and opportunity, as Jaguar Paw must balance the threat of injury with the strategic advantage of confusing pursuers. Rocks slick with moisture, turbulent currents, and sudden drops demand swift thinking and physical dexterity. He teaches the child to recognize patterns in water flow and the safest path across unstable surfaces, blending practical skill with instinctual learning. His wife assists, using her own knowledge of terrain and timing to guide them safely. These sequences reinforce the narrative's theme that survival is a combination of acute observation, adaptation, and cooperative effort. As they continue, the dense jungle occasionally opens to reveal remnants of the past, crumbling temples, overgrown plazas, and deserted villages that tell the story of civilizations long gone. Jaguar Paw reflects on the impermanence of human constructs, the hubris of those who sought power, and the ultimate supremacy of life's resilience. Nature reclaims what humanity abandons or destroys, teaching lessons of humility, adaptation, and continuity. These pauses, though brief, allow both him and the audience to absorb the broader implications of survival within history's vast cycle. Each reflection intertwines with action, creating a layered narrative of personal endurance and philosophical observation. The raiders' desperation grows as they struggle to keep pace, their aggression becoming increasingly reckless and predictable. Fallen branches, camouflaged pits, and the terrain itself work against them, turning their pursuit into a series of self-inflicted setbacks. Jaguar Paw's strategic use of natural obstacles demonstrates that intellect, timing, and experience can overcome even determined foes. Every encounter heightens suspense, illustrating the interplay between predator and prey, intelligence and brute force. The jungle itself acts as an ally, reshaping the course of the chase and emphasizing the symbiotic relationship between environment and survival. Nightfall brings both relief and heightened tension, as darkness offers concealment but magnifies every sound into potential threat. The family's movements slow, whispers replace speech, and even minor noises carry significance. Fires are minimized to avoid detection, casting shadows that flicker and dance, creating a landscape of uncertainty. The mother's care for the child, combined with whispered guidance and protective positioning, demonstrates that survival is not merely physical endurance but also emotional fortitude and instruction. These sequences highlight the intricate balance between rest, vigilance, and education within the ongoing struggle for life. Jaguar Paw notices subtle signs of human activity in the distance, smoke rising from far-off settlements, recently disturbed paths, and the faint sounds of labor or ritual. Each observation informs their route, allowing him to anticipate potential dangers and adjust strategies accordingly. The child begins to recognize these patterns, understanding that survival requires attention, patience, and discernment. Moments of quiet reflection reinforce the narrative's emphasis on learning, adaptation, and the cumulative wisdom gained from experience. The interplay of environmental cues and human instinct underscores the film's philosophical depth. Approaching the final rivers and cliffs before reaching the coast, the family faces the culmination of physical and psychological trials. Jaguar Paw calculates each leap, swing, and crossing with precision, ensuring the child's safety while maintaining momentum. His wife's guidance ensures coordination and support, blending maternal intuition with strategic awareness. Every action is deliberate, each small victory a reinforcement of resilience, skill, and cooperation. These sequences exemplify the narrative's insistence that survival is a holistic process, integrating body, mind, and heart. The coastline appears as a symbol of both hope and uncertainty, with jagged rocks, unpredictable currents, and wide expanses presenting the final series of obstacles. Jaguar Paw's knowledge of natural patterns, timing, and risk assessment becomes paramount, guiding the family safely toward open ground. The child's growing confidence in movement and observation reflects lessons learned through continuous adaptation, signaling a passing of survival knowledge to the next generation. Each successful navigation underscores the themes of intelligence, foresight, and collaborative endurance. The ocean, distant yet visible, represents both the unknown future and the ultimate reward for perseverance. Distant European ships loom on the horizon, introducing awe and anxiety into the family's journey. The raiders falter at this new, unfamiliar presence, giving Jaguar Paw a tactical advantage, yet the broader implications of encountering new civilizations remain uncertain. He chooses discretion and avoidance, highlighting the importance of prudence and long-term thinking in survival. This moment reinforces the narrative's thematic depth, connecting personal endurance with the broader sweep of history and societal change. The horizon serves as a symbol of possibility, risk, and the enduring human instinct to adapt to shifting circumstances. Finally, Jaguar Paw reunites with his wife and newborn child in a scene of profound emotional and symbolic resonance. He lifts them from the pit, their faces marked by exhaustion, fear, and relief, embodying the triumph of perseverance and love. The newborn, a living symbol of hope and continuity, cries into the humid air, signaling the possibility of a future built upon courage, resilience, and care. The jungle, once threatening, now provides shelter and sanctuary, illustrating the culmination of physical, emotional, and spiritual endurance. The concluding moments reinforce the film's central message: survival is inseparable from love, unity, intelligence, and the unyielding will to protect and sustain life. The family moves deliberately toward the edge of the forest, where the dense greenery begins to thin and the distant roar of the ocean signals both danger and promise. Every step is calculated, balancing speed with caution, as Jaguar Paw instinctively evaluates terrain, potential ambush points, and the safest paths forward. The child, now learning the rhythm of survival, mimics movements and observes patterns, gaining knowledge essential to the continuation of life beyond immediate threats. His wife maintains a quiet vigilance, blending care for the child with strategic awareness, demonstrating the synergy of family and instinct. Each step embodies the film's central theme: survival is a holistic endeavor, demanding intelligence, courage, and collaboration. The roar of waterfalls and the jagged cliffs near the coastline become both challenge and opportunity, requiring every ounce of physical skill and mental acuity. Jaguar Paw times each leap, swing, and climb to perfection, using the environment's natural features to shield the family from potential threats. His wife offers support and guidance, ensuring the child remains safe while absorbing lessons of adaptive thinking and environmental mastery. The interplay between peril and ingenuity underscores the narrative's insistence that survival is not only about action but also about learning and applying wisdom. The landscape itself becomes a character, shaping the family's journey and reflecting the story's themes of resilience and adaptation. The European ships on the horizon symbolize a world beyond immediate danger, an unfamiliar civilization whose presence elicits both awe and caution. The raiders, confronted with forces beyond their understanding, falter and retreat, allowing Jaguar Paw a fleeting moment of strategic relief. Rather than confrontation, he chooses discretion and avoidance, demonstrating the application of patience, foresight, and long-term thinking in survival. This intersection of personal endurance with the inexorable march of history emphasizes the cyclical nature of civilizations and the role of adaptation in enduring change. The horizon represents both hope and uncertainty, a testament to human resilience and the persistence of life. Reuniting with his wife and newborn child marks a profound emotional climax, blending relief, gratitude, and symbolic triumph. Jaguar Paw lifts them from the pit, their faces reflecting the cumulative weight of fear, exhaustion, and joy. The newborn symbolizes renewal, continuity, and the enduring potential of life even amidst devastation. The jungle, previously threatening, now serves as sanctuary, illustrating the reconciliation between human vulnerability and environmental mastery. This reunion reinforces the narrative's ultimate message: survival is inseparable from love, connection, and the moral determination to protect and nurture life. The family's cautious journey into the broader forest signifies both the literal and metaphorical continuation of life, where each step forward represents resilience, adaptation, and hope. The forest, alive with textures, sounds, and unpredictable forces, remains both challenge and teacher, reinforcing lessons learned throughout the narrative. Jaguar Paw's reflections on the collapsing Maya civilization and the encroaching unknown world tie personal endurance to broader historical cycles, illustrating the intersection of individual action and collective consequence. Each moment is infused with tension, observation, and insight, highlighting the sophisticated balance between survival instincts and human intelligence. The journey's resolution underscores that life persists not by chance but through careful observation, adaptability, and unbreakable familial bonds. The final sequences emphasize the intertwining of physical endurance, emotional strength, and moral courage. Jaguar Paw navigates obstacles with calculated precision, demonstrating that intelligence, foresight, and cooperation are as critical as physical skill. The child observes and internalizes these lessons, ensuring that survival knowledge, experience, and resilience are passed to the next generation. The landscape's dangers, cliffs, rivers, and dense jungle, continue to serve as both trial and teacher, reinforcing the narrative's holistic perspective on survival. Each step forward is simultaneously a practical action and a symbolic affirmation of hope, courage, and continuity. The crashing waves of the ocean symbolize the threshold between the known and the unknown, danger and opportunity, past and future. As Jaguar Paw guides his family toward this boundary, every movement reflects skill, experience, and the culmination of lessons learned through relentless trial. The family's unity, physical, emotional, and intellectual, becomes the key to navigating these final challenges, illustrating that survival is a collaborative process grounded in love, observation, and adaptability. The ocean's presence emphasizes the journey's scale and the broader forces at play in human life, bridging personal struggle with universal themes of endurance and renewal. The narrative's climax merges action, philosophy, and symbolic imagery into a resonant conclusion. The film closes with the family stepping into a new world, having survived the relentless pursuit, environmental hazards, and societal collapse that defined their journey. The forest, ocean, and distant civilizations serve as a backdrop for reflection on human resilience, the transience of empires, and the persistence of life. Jaguar Paw's triumph is not only in physical survival but in the preservation of family, knowledge, and hope. The concluding imagery emphasizes continuity, adaptation, and the cyclical nature of existence, leaving the audience with a profound meditation on what it means to endure. Through visceral tension, emotional depth, and philosophical resonance, Apocalypto presents survival as a comprehensive, deeply human endeavor. The narrative's final resonance lies in the blending of personal, environmental, and historical layers, showing that survival is a complex interplay of observation, intelligence, endurance, and emotional strength. Jaguar Paw's journey demonstrates that resilience is learned, applied, and transmitted across generations, bridging the past and future. Nature serves as both adversary and mentor, shaping actions, testing courage, and offering refuge. The collapse of human civilizations underscores the fragility of societal constructs while highlighting the enduring power of human will, ingenuity, and love. The story concludes as a testament to the universal human capacity to survive, adapt, and nurture life against the most overwhelming odds. The story of Apocalypto begins in the lush, sun-dappled forests of Mesoamerica, where life flows with a rhythm shaped by nature and tradition. Jaguar Paw's tribe moves with harmony, their every action in tune with the cycles of the sun, the rustle of leaves, and the distant calls of wildlife echoing through the canopy. Children laugh as they chase one another among the trees, elders impart wisdom in the flickering light of communal fires, and hunters return with the fruits of patience and skill, creating a tapestry of life that is orderly yet vibrant. The air carries the scent of wet earth, fresh fruits, and smoke from morning fires, a sensory symphony that illustrates the tribe's deep connection to their environment. Beneath this serenity, whispers of distant violence and stories of destroyed villages foreshadow an upheaval, a tension that lingers quietly yet palpably in the daily rhythm of life. Every element of the forest feels alive, from the slow crawl of vines across fallen trunks to the sudden splash of fish in hidden streams, reinforcing the intimate knowledge the tribe has of their surroundings. Jaguar Paw walks with alert calmness, observing every movement, listening for the faintest hint of danger, yet allowing himself moments of joy as the children's laughter echoes through the undergrowth. Rituals, songs, and communal work fill the days, binding the people together in a social fabric as intricate as the woven baskets and textiles they create. Nature provides food, shelter, and lessons, teaching balance, patience, and attentiveness, shaping character and survival instincts alike. Yet the undercurrent of unease, tales of raiders and collapsing cities, exists as a subtle reminder that this idyllic world is fragile, and even the safest village may be swept into chaos at any moment. At dawn, the fragile peace is violently shattered as raiders from a decaying Maya civilization descend upon the village with terrifying efficiency. Huts are set ablaze, screams fill the air, and men, women, and children are seized or slaughtered in moments of chaos that obliterate the quiet order of daily life. Jaguar Paw, heart pounding, hides his pregnant wife and child in a pit he has dug, whispering promises of survival that cling to hope even as the world around him collapses. Smoke rises in thick plumes, mingling with the cries of the wounded and terrified, creating a sensory scene of fire, ash, and despair that contrasts starkly with the previous harmony. This moment defines the central conflict of the film, setting in motion a relentless struggle for life, family, and dignity in the face of merciless violence. The forced march to the Maya city is a relentless test of endurance, with captives driven across miles of unforgiving terrain under the burning sun. Hunger gnaws at their bodies, fatigue clouds their senses, and fear presses heavily on every step, turning each moment into a test of willpower. Jaguar Paw witnesses the devastation of other communities along the way, villages stripped bare, evidence of systematic destruction that underscores the raiders' indiscriminate brutality. The guards show no mercy, punishing hesitation with violence and reminding all that survival is contingent upon compliance, speed, and resilience. The psychological toll of the march weighs heavily, revealing that survival requires mental fortitude as much as physical skill. Every sensory detail heightens the tension, the pungent odor of sweat and blood, the coarse touch of rope bindings, and the oppressive heat create an almost tactile experience of suffering and fear. Jaguar Paw's mind oscillates between panic and clarity, calculating the minimal steps needed to preserve energy, avoid attacks, and anticipate hazards along the route. Each fleeting glance at the horizon reveals both hope and danger, while the cries of distant captives merge with the wailing of the wind through trees, a haunting accompaniment to their forced pilgrimage. Nature, though ever present, offers little comfort, forcing the protagonist to navigate both the human threat and the unpredictable landscape. These moments of acute awareness amplify the narrative tension, merging emotional stakes with environmental immersion. Upon arrival at the Maya city, Jaguar Paw is overwhelmed by the sensory onslaught of urban chaos, towering stone temples, bustling marketplaces, and the cries of citizens moving between despair and ritualistic fervor. Disease, famine, and superstition permeate the air, mingling with incense, blood, and the scent of food from crowded kitchens. Captives are lined up for ritual sacrifice, a horrific spectacle performed to appease gods who are powerless to halt the decline of their civilization. Drums beat in a relentless cadence, chants echo through stone corridors, and the audience is drawn into the psychological horror of ritualized violence. Every architectural detail, every painted face, and every ceremonial gesture reinforces the dichotomy between civilization's grandeur and its moral collapse. As the sacrificial ritual reaches its apex, a sudden solar eclipse halts the proceedings, interpreted by priests as a divine signal of satisfaction. The crowd erupts into hysteria and relief, their devotion momentarily appeased, yet the prisoners are not granted freedom. They are instead thrust into a sadistic chase, forced to run for their lives while elite warriors pursue them relentlessly through the surrounding jungle. Jaguar Paw's instincts take over, guiding him through a landscape of natural and human obstacles, each step a delicate negotiation between survival and exhaustion. The pit, where his wife and child await, remains the emotional anchor that drives his determination and ingenuity, creating a layered narrative of external danger and internal motivation. The jungle transforms into a living battlefield, where every leaf, vine, and river bend can serve as a tool or trap. Jaguar Paw manipulates his surroundings with precision, turning terrain into weaponry and using the raiders' arrogance against them. Each hunter becomes a target, each misstep a fatal opportunity, emphasizing the film's recurring theme: intelligence and adaptability often outweigh brute force. The sensory immersion intensifies, the rustle of predators in the undergrowth, the scent of rain-soaked earth, and the chill of night create a visceral landscape that is as alive as the characters themselves. Parallel sequences reveal his wife and child struggling in the pit against rising water, their fight for life a mirror of Jaguar Paw's own trials. Night in the jungle is a crucible of endurance, vigilance, and emotional fortitude. Fires are kept minimal to avoid detection, while every sound is scrutinized for threats, both animal and human. The child learns the subtleties of observation, mirroring the adult lessons of patience and alertness, while the mother's care ensures their survival. The forest becomes simultaneously a protector and a test, teaching lessons in patience, resourcefulness, and resilience. These nocturnal sequences blend tension with intimacy, showing survival as a process that engages body, mind, and heart. Jaguar Paw reflects on the ruins and remnants of civilizations overtaken by time and nature, noting crumbling stone structures, overgrown temples, and abandoned plazas. The decay of once great structures mirrors the moral collapse he has witnessed, emphasizing that survival is both personal and emblematic of larger historical forces. Nature reclaims the ruins with relentless patience, reinforcing the theme that life persists, even as empires fall. These reflections deepen the narrative, adding philosophical resonance to the high-stakes chase. The jungle becomes a lens through which history and human resilience are reflected. The approach to rivers and cliffs presents new tactical challenges, forcing Jaguar Paw to improvise quickly and creatively. He uses currents to obscure his movement, cliffs to create natural barriers, and dense vegetation to hide from pursuers. The raiders' failure to adapt to these environmental complexities underscores their reliance on brute force and their vulnerability to ingenuity. Each maneuver, each improvised trap, highlights the film's recurrent message: survival is achieved through observation, creativity, and harmony with the natural world. The forest itself becomes a character, an unpredictable ally that tests and teaches in equal measure. Small victories along the journey, a safe crossing, a successfully evaded ambush, or a quiet moment of rest, carry profound significance for Jaguar Paw and his family. These triumphs reinforce morale, build confidence, and symbolize the power of resilience and strategic thinking. The child observes and internalizes these moments, demonstrating that survival skills are passed down through both example and experience. Intimate exchanges, like whispered instructions or shared laughter in fleeting safety, emphasize that emotional bonds are critical to endurance. Each step forward becomes a meditation on perseverance, patience, and the continuity of life. The persistent raiders continue their pursuit, yet the traps and terrain set by Jaguar Paw continually shift the balance of power. Fallen branches, hidden pits, and knowledge of natural terrain transform the environment into an extension of his strategic thinking. Each encounter illustrates the principle that awareness and cunning can outweigh aggression and brute strength. The sequences combine suspense, danger, and reflection on human psychology, reinforcing the film's core themes. The audience experiences every heartbeat, every leap, and every decision, immersed in the tense balance between predator and prey. As the family nears the coastline, environmental challenges intensify: jagged rocks, strong currents, and dense underbrush present the final series of obstacles. Jaguar Paw calculates each crossing with meticulous care, ensuring the child's safety while maintaining momentum. His wife's guidance ensures coordination and support, blending maternal intuition with strategic awareness. Every action is deliberate, each small victory a reinforcement of resilience, skill, and cooperation. These sequences exemplify the narrative's insistence that survival is a holistic process, integrating body, mind, and heart. The distant sight of European ships introduces awe, uncertainty, and a new dynamic into the landscape. The raiders hesitate, giving Jaguar Paw a tactical advantage, yet the broader implications of encountering new civilizations remain uncertain. He chooses discretion and avoidance, highlighting the importance of prudence and long-term thinking in survival. This intersection of personal endurance with the broader sweep of history reinforces the narrative's depth, showing that adaptability extends beyond immediate danger to the comprehension of larger forces. The horizon becomes both literal and metaphorical, representing opportunity, risk, and the persistence of hope. Reuniting with his wife and newborn child marks a profound emotional climax, blending relief, gratitude, and symbolic triumph. Jaguar Paw lifts them from the pit, their faces reflecting the cumulative weight of fear, exhaustion, and joy. The newborn symbolizes renewal, continuity, and the enduring potential of life even amidst devastation. The jungle, previously threatening, now serves as sanctuary, illustrating the reconciliation between human vulnerability and environmental mastery. This reunion reinforces the narrative's ultimate message: survival is inseparable from love, connection, and the moral determination to protect and nurture life. The family's cautious journey into the broader forest signifies both the literal and metaphorical continuation of life, where each step forward represents resilience, adaptation, and hope. The forest, alive with textures, sounds, and unpredictable forces, remains both challenge and teacher, reinforcing lessons learned throughout the narrative. Jaguar Paw's reflections on the collapsing Maya civilization and the encroaching unknown world tie personal endurance to broader historical cycles, illustrating the intersection of individual action and collective consequence. Each moment is infused with tension, observation, and insight, highlighting the sophisticated balance between survival instincts and human intelligence. The journey's resolution underscores that life persists not by chance but through careful observation, adaptability, and unbreakable familial bonds. The final sequences emphasize the intertwining of physical endurance, emotional strength, and moral courage. Jaguar Paw navigates obstacles with calculated precision, demonstrating that intelligence, foresight, and cooperation are as critical as physical skill. The child observes and internalizes these lessons, ensuring that survival knowledge, experience, and resilience are passed to the next generation. The landscape's dangers, cliffs, rivers, and dense jungle, continue to serve as both trial and teacher, reinforcing the narrative's holistic perspective on survival. Each step forward is simultaneously a practical action and a symbolic affirmation of hope, courage, and continuity. The crashing waves of the ocean symbolize the threshold between the known and the unknown, danger and opportunity, past and future. As Jaguar Paw guides his family toward this boundary, every movement reflects skill, experience, and the culmination of lessons learned through relentless trial. The family's unity, physical, emotional, and intellectual, becomes the key to navigating these final challenges, illustrating that survival is a collaborative process grounded in love, observation, and adaptability. The ocean's presence emphasizes the journey's scale and the broader forces at play in human life, bridging personal struggle with universal themes of endurance and renewal. The narrative's climax merges action, philosophy, and symbolic imagery into a resonant conclusion. The film closes with the family stepping into a new world, having survived the relentless pursuit, environmental hazards, and societal collapse that defined their journey. The forest, ocean, and distant civilizations serve as a backdrop for reflection on human resilience, the transience of empires, and the persistence of life. Jaguar Paw's triumph is not only in physical survival but in the preservation of family, knowledge, and hope. The concluding imagery emphasizes continuity, adaptation, and the cyclical nature of existence, leaving the audience with a profound meditation on what it means to endure. Through visceral tension, emotional depth, and philosophical resonance, Apocalypto presents survival as a comprehensive, deeply human endeavor. The narrative's final resonance lies in the blending of personal, environmental, and historical layers, showing that survival is a complex interplay of observation, intelligence, endurance, and emotional strength. Jaguar Paw's journey demonstrates that resilience is learned, applied, and transmitted across generations, bridging the past and future. Nature serves as both adversary and mentor, shaping actions, testing courage, and offering refuge. The collapse of human civilizations underscores the fragility of societal constructs while highlighting the enduring power of human will, ingenuity, and love. The story concludes as a testament to the universal human capacity to survive, adapt, and nurture life against the most overwhelming odds.